A quick reminder for those attending the press conference virtually, use the raise hand function on your computer if you have a question. We will take questions from those in the room first, and then as time allows, we'll take questions from those attending virtually. And a quick reminder, we'll start each press conference with questions for the players for the first 10 minutes, and then they will be dismissed, and we'll take 12 minutes with the coach. Come on in, Coach.
I've missed you. It's been a day.
Yes. Okay, just a reminder, the first 10 minutes are questions for our players, and then Coach, the next 12 minutes. So a reminder to give your name and affiliation the first time you ask a
How do I
question.
look?
And we'll open it up for question for our players.
For players of the statement.
Oh, you tell me.
Go ahead and give a statement, yes.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to thank the University of Arizona. They have been really great to us. They've been great hosts. They've been, everyone who we've passed has been very kind, even on the way out of the game today. So what a classy operation. I hope we come back and get a chance to play again. Much respect for all they've done. You guys have a great team, a great program. You know, to say I'm really proud to be bringing a team to the Sweet 16 would be an understatement. There's been some roster reconstruction over the last, since I got the job. These guys trusted me enough to say, let's do this, right? And that's one thing to say it, and another thing to do it. And it's so hard to win in March. And this group has won, not one, but two on the road. We sort of felt like we should be hosting, and there was only one thing to do, is to prove it. And you know, these guys earned it. You really did. You earned it not only today, but how you've handled yourself all year long. I'm really, really proud of you, and really glad you're mine.
Okay, now players' questions. Who'd like to start?
Alex Simon from the Next. Deja, when Kennedy matches not just her season high in points, but also assists, just can you talk about what exactly she brought to you guys tonight, and especially when you needed it most?
Everything. Literally everything. She came out gunning from jump. She was running the floor. She was defending, getting steals. She was doing a little bit of everything, which is what we needed her to do. She was our X factor tonight, and she is probably the biggest reason why we won this game by a lot.
And Kennedy, especially what you guys were able to do on the defensive end. I mean, you guys only committed 6 fouls. Just can you describe what it felt like to be playing defense tonight when it seems like you guys were as interconnected? And even if they were getting good looks, obviously, that's basketball. Sometimes those don't go in.
Yeah. Well, first off, one of our coaches said to build the wall, like before this game, and that's exactly what we did. You said we only committed 6 fouls, but I think we just played together and played with a lot of energy, and that just showed because it transitioned to offense, and we started rolling from there.
Next question.
Shelby Swanson, Daily Tar Heel. First of all, congrats on the win. So you guys knew coming into today's game it was going to be loud. There's this one point, Kennedy, in the third quarter, you came down, you hit this three, and you just stared directly at the Arizona crowd, kind of silencing them. Could you just talk about that moment a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we knew they have a big crowd, but, I mean, we were silencing them, and, I mean, it was just the energy. Like, the atmosphere was great. We had our fans, so it was just, I don't know, I kind of blacked out, and I just, like, stared at them, but no disrespect to any of them, because, I mean, they have a great fan base and everything, so props to them.
Yeah, and a quick question for Deja. So the buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter, that was just a huge momentum shift. Could you talk a little bit about that and the importance you think it played in today's game? I
think that was a huge momentum builder for us. Coach told me to get the ball in my hands with those last, I think it was like 12 seconds on the clock. And I saw who was guarding me, and I just attacked. She bit. She kind of jumped at that first move, and then I just crossed, went up. She fouled me, it went in, and our little students fan section went crazy. Our bench went crazy, so that was definitely a momentum shifter for us.
Two more for me, Alex, from the Next. Kennedy, you guys were saying it just out there, but as a North Carolina kid getting to play an NCAA tournament game in the Greensboro Coliseum, I know you guys were just there and it didn't go well. How much did that, sorry to bring it up, how much did that maybe have a little bit of extra juice for you guys as you came out west to say, if we win these two, we're going back home?
Yeah, we know that our crowd is going to be there for sure, and that's going to give us a lot of momentum. Arizona's a great team, but we were ready to play in the Sweet 16. And we're very capable of beating whoever.
Deja, when Coach subs you out with about 40 seconds ago, you guys have a big hug. Were you guys exchanging words at that point? What was kind of said there, if you don't mind sharing?
She just told me how proud she was of me, and I just expressed how excited, how happy I was. Like, it was just a moment of, like, we did it. We've been through so much. We've had such a long season, and we've just been waiting for this moment. We've had talks about getting here, getting to the Sweet 16. We're finally going. So I think that exchange was just really special for us.
Next question.
Nathaniel Martinez with All Sports Tucson. Throughout the game, you guys were able to go on these huge scoring runs, like in the second quarter, this 15-0 scoring run. The third quarter, you went on another one. What were you seeing out there, and how are you guys able to do that for either guy?
I think it was our defense. I think we definitely picked it up on that end. All game, really. We locked into our scout. We locked into our principles that we've been doing all season. Like Toddy said, one of our main themes this game was building a wall, and I think we did just that. And that led to a lot of runouts. Toddy and Liz got a lot of runouts, got a lot of easy layups, and that allowed us to go on our run.
Next question for our players. If there are no more questions, we will let them go. Wait, we got one more.
Yeah, another question for you, Kennedy. There's this one moment in the game, I forget exactly when it was, but the crowd was just getting loud, and I saw you kind of motioning to some teammates like, it's okay, or holding your thumbs up. Could you talk about the importance of just remaining calm during those just giant like swells of noise in the crowd?
Yeah, I think it's a little distraction. But I looked at all the players, and I'm like, we're good, we're okay. Like, they're gonna go on a run, like, but like we just have to stay composed and just know that everything's fine. Like, as long as we're connected, nothing can stop or break in between us. So,
Facts.
Okay, we will let you guys go.
Proud of you.
Well, we do have a question from those attending virtually. R.L. Bynum from the Tar Heel Tribune. R.L.? Hold on just a second.
There we go. Hey, Kennedy, I wanted to ask you about your defense on Pellington. She scored 30 points against UNLV, and she had 3 tonight. How were you able to do that, and what was so effective on the defensive end overall?
well, all I can say is just a scout. I mean, I think Coach Walt did a great job explaining the scout, and we really locked in. We knew going into this game, she's a great player. But we really just locked in. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and everybody stayed connected, and we really built that wall for sure.
And for Deja, obviously you were at the top of their scouting report. They were defending you really hard, and you worked through it. Can you talk about how they defended you, and you still got your points and got some big baskets?
Yeah, I assumed that that was going to be their game plan. They were playing really aggressive on me. Really tight, but I thought that was fine because why not guard everyone else? So now, Kennedy is getting her buckets. Liz is getting her buckets. Everyone's getting runouts. So I thought that worked out perfectly because then my man was hugging, so it allowed them to attack the gaps, attack the lanes. So I think the game plan worked out well for us.
Okay, we'll take also from virtual press from those attending virtually, Mitchell Northam. Mitchell?
Hey there, you guys got me?
Gotcha.
Great, awesome. For either of the players, that last game you guys played in Greensboro, you gave up 87 points. These last 2 games, the defense seems like it's been an emphasis, and tonight you held Arizona to the second least amount of points they've scored all season. Has there been an emphasis on defense and kind of refocusing and refining your groove there?
Yes. I think really the defense really transitions to offense. We really hound into that. And we really just stayed focused and just had fun.
Last question for online, Lindsay Schnell. Lindsay?
Hey, sorry, I just put my hand up right away when you started to dismiss them because I wanted to be in line for Courtney.
Okay.
She's in line.
You're in line. You're first in line.
Sweet.
We'll let you
Thank
go.
y'all.
Great job, crew. All right.
All right, we will open it for questions in the room for Coach.
I can only imagine what I look like. Jeez.
Happy.
Thank you.
In the middle, right there, in the middle, second row.
Alex Simon from the Next. Courtney, you've had some games where the number has maybe been lower than this, but especially given kind of the disciplined way you guys are able to play defense, does this feel like the best defensive effort you guys have put together?
Yeah, we thought we might play Arizona, so we did a little bit last week in preparation for them, and then, you have that gritty game, and then you've got kind of all day to prep. That's it. So we kind of broke down in film. We did some in the morning and some in some in the evening. You had one practice. The kids were pretty beat up, so we had to kind of do more walkthrough. And so, we told them that part of your practice is to really watch film, right? We need you to mentally understand, and then your body will do it. And yeah, they thought their actions, even that they're so hard to guard in that elbow rub action. Reese is so dangerous there. So is Thomas, and we were able to shut that down. Their dribble handoff action where they try to really win the paint. They'll get you once, they'll get you twice, and we knew we were not biting on any of them. We're not biting on any of them, and our guys were just really disciplined. So, they had to be. We said you're going to have to beat a good team on the road, and a really good team, and you're going to have to go through them. You can't go around them. You can't ask them nicely to move. You're going to have to go right through them. And I thought they did that.
Does maybe, if this were a neutral site, who knows what the crowd and the environment would have been like, but does it make it a little bit sweeter to beat a team on their home floor? Does that kind of sentiment come through?
Yeah, I think, again, you're as I said yesterday, so it's not just because we won. It's a great environment for women's basketball, right? And when you're playing in front of, I was exercising this morning over at Orange Theory with a bunch of people, and I've been there like every day. So they're like, hey, you're back. And someone said, I'm going to come to your game tonight. How do I get tickets? And I said, you live here. I have no idea how to get tickets. I walk right through. And she said, I'm going to come to the game. I'm going to figure out how to come to the game. So I got you guys a new fan, because I'm sure after coming to the game, she'd like to be there. But yeah, we told them every time that something goes well for them, it's going to feel like it's going really bad for us. You just lock into the scoreboard, lock into each other, and lock into me. And everything else is noise. And I thought they did a really good job, especially as they went on a little bit of a run. We tightened up a little bit. They sort of locked in.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win.
Thanks.
Can't help but notice that your hair is a little bit
Yeah.
wet. Could you take us through what happened in that locker room after the win?
Yeah, so we got them, actually. So we all had the water bottles, and I knew they were going to do something. And so I don't know if they were going to do water or not, but we all came in just one after another, film and assistants, and we just came spraying. So again, I feel a little bad because the locker room is now wet, but it was well earned. So yeah, we got them. We got them. And then in turn they got me, but we got them first.
Next question.
Alex Simon from The Next again. To have this team, it's
Yeah.
kind of a team you've been able to slap together a little bit, and especially to be 6 deep. You usually can go 7, but you tightened it up. What is the feeling as a coach to be able to get this group to this point?
It's remarkable. I mean, if you think we start 4 sophomores, or most people have COVID seniors, we have COVID freshmen, so they, those sophomores are basically freshmen, and, they had to really, led by Deja, had to really take a chance, right? The program was kind of in a time of transition. And then Carly, the point guard I had at Princeton, she was choosing between Arizona and Stanford, who played in the national championship game. I was texting her during the game, like, babe, come on. I've already recruited you once, right? And then Eva's from New Hampshire, where I'm from. So we had to kind of piece it together because it's a little early in our kind of rebirth. And so these guys work so hard. I know every coach says that. I've been coaching for a long time. This group is really, really into it. And so they earned it. And so for me, that's just a gratifying experience for me to be a part of.
When you talk about those COVID freshmen that are sophomores, obviously maybe at the end of the game you could look at some of the turnovers when they brought the heavy trapping that you would not want to get back. But especially in the 35 minutes coming up on the offensive end, just the discipline that they show with Arizona's very stifling defense throughout the day.
I thought the most dangerous part of this game was that if we allowed their pressure to make us tentative. So I really tried to get into them that we're going to have to run through Arizona. Run right by them in transition, run through them in quarter court, cut hard through them. We're not going to be able to gently work our way through this game. And I think that freed up the guys to know, all right, when I drive hard, I've got to make a pass, because if you're hesitant against pressure, it's not good. And so I'm most proud of their ability to be aggressive and play with confidence on this stage in this environment, at being so young.
Next question.
Yeah, we've already hit on it on multiple points throughout the press conference, but can you just talk about just the importance of Kennedy Todd Williams in today's game?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably no bigger fan of Kennedy Todd than me. She is such a gem. We needed her to have a great game. She can do so many things on the court, and for a kid like that to be able to impact the game. I've called her Scottie Pippen since the day I recruited her. And you saw it today. She's a lot like Scottie Pippen. She does a little bit of everything that contributes to winning. And to see Deja, who has been such a headline all year, just so honestly and genuinely and authentically love on how Toddy played. That's kind of what this team's about. But yeah, we wouldn't be sitting up in this if Toddy hadn't played so well.
Yeah, and just to touch on that again, aside from, the matching the career high and points and assists, she really, especially towards the end of the game, was playing with some flair. She, I remember crossed this one girl at half court, kind of stuck her tongue out a little bit. Can you just talk about
emotional.
how the energy that she plays with, how that impacts the team?
Yeah, she played with great energy, and she didn't she kind of let her emotions. She can be pretty stoic. So can I. So I can kind of meet her there. But I think this game, I said in March, you've got to bring it out of yourself. You got to come outside of yourself. And she did that. And that's not an easy thing to do. So yeah, I'm so happy she's enjoying her process because that kid could be really special.
Okay, we'll take some questions online from those attending virtually.
Remember that person said she was first. Lindsay
Oh, yeah.
Shell or something?
Yeah, Lindsay.
I got you, Lindsay.
Coach took care of you.
Coach, thanks for looking out for me.
You got
it. Really fast, I want you to know that Charlie Turner-Thorne, who just stepped down at ASU, she always used to go into the locker room with a towel wrapped around her head so her hair wouldn't get wet after a celebration.
Yeah, so she didn't look like she's
just
always been
FYI.
more stylish than me. I got you.
You mentioned, that you thought that you all could have hosted and that you had this great environment and winning on their home floor is a big deal. But I wondered, we've had some big time upsets in the women's game this tournament, which is great, including obviously Iowa and Baylor, two seeds losing. Is it time for us to move the women's tournament to all neutral floors where theoretically we would have even more upsets?
What's hilarious about that is we're finally at the point where I think we will host. And I'm actually going to tell you that, I think, it's hard because this environment's so great, right? Are we ready? I think I'm kind of a purist in knowing that the environment's important. So it's got to be in certain environments that can prepare for that because you want it to feel special. This felt really special for both teams. March is awful for everybody but one when it all comes down to it, right? But nobody here tonight, whether it's a fan or a player, won't remember this. And so that's what I just want to make sure doesn't get lost is the moment of remembering how special the energy and excitement is. So I don't know if we're totally ready for that entirely yet, but I think getting more games on TV and having these upsets are showing the quality of play, so.
Okay, we'll move now to a question from Noah Monroe from the Daily Tar Heel. Noah?
I think you're on.
Hey, Coach. Noah Monroe from the Daily Tar Heel. Congrats on the win. So you shut down a team who regularly scores 70 plus to just 75 or 45 points on their home court and had them at a season low 42 points for that 3-pointer at the end. Then you shut down Pellington to just 3 points. I mean, what or who was the key tonight in the defensive clinic? 5-on-5.
We said if I don't like any matchup one-on-one against this team. I don't like any of them. So luckily, we're not going to play it. We're not going to play one-on-one anywhere on the court with any of their players. And so we made it a 5-on-5 game. We made sure that we showed their kind of main favorite actions, and we said this is where they like to ISO, and we just were like, we're not having it. So 5-on-5. There's really no one kid that stopped anybody. It was all 5 all the time.
Okay, R.L.
And just
Bynum.
a follow-up on that, if I can.
Of course.
Go ahead.
So, you really emphasize hustle, and I just remember a moment where Alyssa Usby seemingly kind of came out of nowhere and blocked a shot. What does it mean to see that kind of hustle from your team on a daily basis on the court?
Yeah, Alyssa's the motor. She played all 40 minutes. I took her out so she could be celebrated. That kid plays so hard every minute. We would not be sitting here this far along in March without Alyssa Usby. She's just the motor of our group. And, she had to guard the 5. She had to guard when Reese was in, she was guarding Reese. When she wasn't in, she was guarding the 5. And she's, 6'1" guard. So, all about heart. And that's what we pride ourselves on as a program.
Thank you. Congrats on the win.
I didn't have any more healthy people to put in to let Carly come out.
Okay,
have 4
R.L.
guards.
R.L. Europe.
Hey, Courtney, congratulations on the win. Can you talk about the defense on Pellington? You were saying it was a team effort, but it seemed like there was a lot of Kennedy. Kennedy had a lot to do with her poor game with only 3 points after 30 the game before.
Yeah, we wanted Tottie's length on Pellington. Also, we knew she'd try to pick on us, which is what they did the very first possession of the first half and the second half with our length. So we knew that Deja was not an option there. And we moved Deja to Thomas and wanted her to contest at the arc, and we'd have good gap help by some of our longer and defenders. So, part of it was scout, and part of it was in March, good players making good plays.
What were the emotions as you were building the lead and during the timeouts and as the game progressed? And did you think that you would build that sort of margin that early in the game?
We've been spurred ability all year. As you know, I think our margin of victory still is in the top 5 in the country, and that's even after a very challenging ACC schedule where we played NC State twice and Virginia Tech 3 times, et cetera. So we've kind of been doing that. We're a hard team to put away, and we also were dangerous, to go on runs. So that's been pretty much our staple in terms of of most of our season. So this game went kind of honestly as planned.
We have time for.
And obviously, you saw South Carolina in a preseason scrimmage. Can you talk about the challenge that they give you, and maybe you can't tell us too much about how that went, but maybe a little bit of how that went?
Yeah, South Carolina is one of the very best teams in the country, and they have some of the very best players in the country. They're incredibly dominant inside. You're playing a number 1 seed overall. If them and Stanford are kind of fighting for that right now. So that challenge will be formidable. We take 1 week at a time. So I know it's a very quick turnaround because we're on the other side of the earth right now, and we got to get back home. But we have played them. We've recruited those players, so we know them well. The familiarity is obviously is clear. But I mean, our guys are going to give what we got, and that's a very, very good basketball team, and it'd be exciting to be playing them in Greensboro.
We have time for one more question. JB Ricks.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thanks.
I know there's a lot of celebrating to do tonight or whatever, but just in case I don't get to talk to you before Friday, I just have to hear your initial thoughts on the atmosphere you're going to be expecting on Friday. North Carolina, South Carolina, Sweet 16. I can't imagine that place having 1 seat available. So I just want to hear your initial thoughts on what you're expecting this Friday night.
Yeah, me neither. I can't imagine. I remember we were doing our celebration when we were figuring out where we were playing for the tournament, and all of our fans were like, "Oh, Tucson," and then they figured out that it was Greensboro if we advance, and they all said, "Just please come home." And I think going into this game, I had 181 unread text messages, and so I can't even keep up. People saying, "Come on, one more so you can come home." So yeah, I think we'll draw well. I think the environment will be great. South Carolina travels as well, and it's just women's basketball is in the best spot it's ever been in. I've given my life to women's basketball. It's all I've ever done. With 2 Ivy League degrees, I think a lot of people would question that, my parents included, but it's all I've ever done. And the game is the healthiest I've ever seen it. So I think the crowds will show out for it.
Coach, congratulations.
Appreciate you. I'll miss you.
Well, maybe I'll show up.
Okay. Might not be a seat for you, it turns out.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Go win it all. We'll open up with a brief opening statement from Coach, and then we'll take 10 minutes of questions from our players. Again, reminder, give your name and affiliation on questions. Coach?
I'm obviously disappointed with our performance and, how we played just on this big stage. I think we had a lot of opportunities, but just really never converted. But North Carolina did a great job. They played well. They disrupted us. They really congested the paint, didn't allow us to drive, and we kind of lived and died by the three-point shot in the first half and just couldn't convert. So they did a really good job of just outplaying us in multiple ways. So congratulations to North Carolina on the Sweet 16.
Okay, questions for our players? Up front.
PJ Brown from the Arizona Daily Star. This is for Sam. Your last game in this, at home in a Wildcat uniform. Can you put into words what this meant to you?
I mean, I don't think there's words for the experience that I've had with my time here. I mean, it's been anything more than I could have wished for, imagined for. Coming in my freshman year, only winning 6 games, and then to become who I am academically, off the court, on the court, and then just last year, the run we had this year, making it to the tournament, and then obviously learning everything I had from Adia and this team. So it's been an incredible time.
Next question, in the back row.
Kim Doss, Arizona Desert Storm. Sam, it looked like they could have called you for that 5th foul several times in that last, those last few minutes. What was going through your head when you were playing defense and trying to avoid fouling out?
I was just telling myself, don't foul, don't foul. The refs talked to me a little bit. They were like, come on, Thomas, you got to watch yourself. We don't want to give you that last foul. So I tried to tone it down a little bit. Obviously, I wanted to stay on the court as long as possible for my last game and try and help the team out as much as possible. So luckily, I didn't foul out, so I got the job done.
Next question. Over there on the right, second row.
Sam, this is Javier Morales from All Sports Tucson. Ask a question again to Sam. Just when you were hugging Kate at midcourt, coming off the floor, walking out by yourself, looking at the crowd, can you describe that?
Yeah. Sorry, all the questions are getting directed at me, and I'm going to start getting emotional.
You're okay.
You're good, Sam.
You're good. Take a drink of water.
These fans and this team have been everything for me. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this out. Just, talking with Kate, who's obviously been here for 4 of my 5 years here. I've lived with her for the past 3 years. She's like family to me now. Her sister and I were best friends. We came in together as well as freshmen. She was on the team, so just built a great relationship with her. And so obviously seeing her cry is going to make me cry. I was trying to hold it in the best that I could, but once I saw her and she was just, saying she's going to miss me next year, it's not going to be the same. And so I just really wanted to take that moment with her, and then obviously exiting the court, just looking at everyone in the arena, just knowing that's my last time actually being on the court as a Wildcat in my uniform. But just knowing that I think the fans are hopefully going to follow me, a lot of them, so they're going to follow me my next adventure in life, and that they're all like family to me, and they just made this place a great place to be at.
Next question, front row on the end.
I'll take the pressure off.
Thanks, Asher.
Bendu, you're staying for one more year. What are you taking from this into the next season?
I'm just gonna be hungry. I think I'm gonna have to try to get our team hungry. Today we didn't really play that well, and we didn't really look hungry on the floor. And so, this is a bitter moment. Sam's leaving, so it sucks that I'm not gonna be on the court with her again. But, for the freshmen coming in next year, they got to be ready, and everybody that's coming back next year has to be ready because I'm hungry, and I want our team to be hungry.
Front row on the end here, PJ.
This is PJ, Arizona Daily Star, and this one's for Bendu. I'll give Sam a break. This is a tough way to go out. But you've had a really remarkable season. Nobody believed that you could be here. Nobody believed that you would host or win that many games. What do you take from that? I mean, how special this season was for you?
It was very special. I mean, nobody believed in us. We shocked the world in the first month, beating Louisville, who was ranked number 3 in the country, and then we went on a roll. I mean, every team has their ups and downs, and you saw that with our team. But I wouldn't pass it up for the world. Like it was fun. It was fun to be around my teammates. Having obviously be on Sam's last run around, last run here at Arizona. But yeah, no, it was a fun season, and I'm happy that I'm gonna be able to come back for another one.
Any more questions for our players? Okay.
Thank you.
You're dismissed.
Thank you, everyone.
To see your family.
And now we will open it up for questions for Coach Barnes. Who would like to go first?
Hi, Ryan Finley, Arizona Daily Star. Adia, the foul trouble early with Pellington and then with Sam a little bit later, how did that get in the way of what you guys were trying to do?
I think that at times just not smart fouls, just over aggression, and just like unnecessary fouls, not being smart. And I think that Sam's never has 4 fouls, so I think that was uncharacteristic of Sam. But we can't put North Carolina on the free throw line 24 times, and they're really we talked about it, in our pregame and our scouting. They're really good from the free throw line. They're starting. Their core of 7 that they play are like over 80%. So unnecessary fouls, out of position, and just things that we didn't execute well down the stretch. So a little bit of disappointment as a coach in some of that stuff.
Back row.
Adia, when you guys had that long drought from like 4 minutes,
Like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Part of it was this, the subs that come in, but it seemed like the starters never got back on track either.
Yeah.
Was that your feeling as well, that
Yeah.
that may have been?
Yeah, so I've talked about this in a lot of the press conferences, but so to start the game with the personnel we're starting, we have to be on point and really good defensively, because I know offensively we're limited. We couldn't get stops. I mean, we had a couple keys to the game. The first key was transition defense, which in the first 5 minutes of the game, they're streaming down the floor and getting transition. That's a key. So that it showed me early on that we weren't focused or maybe nervous. But it's hard for me because the core of our team has been to the championship game when the stakes were a lot higher. So that's a focus and that's a mentality and not locked in. And then just the other key, rebounding. We did a little bit better rebounding, but at times in key moments we couldn't get them. So when I start a good defensive team, we have to be really good defensively, because I know if we go to the half court, we're not good in those situations. So our defensive team wasn't able to get stops, and then we go to our more of an offensive lineup. We weren't able to hit shots, so it was rough. I think we disrupted them a little bit when we went to our trapping in the half court, but it was like our intensity there. It was there at that time, but that intensity wasn't in the beginning of the game, and I think the mentality has to be different. There needs to be more of a sense of urgency that I didn't feel like we had at times. We had in spurts, like you saw it when we were like diving, but I felt like, and I don't know, I got to watch film, because I don't want to say too much because it's emotional after a game, but I felt like we lost a lot of 50-50 balls, especially in the first half. I can count like 6 in my head, and that's not Arizona, and we can't have the personnel we have starting and miss those things. So, just have to get better, and we're going to get better because we have good players coming in next year. But, just need to work on a lot of things. And, yeah.
Troy Hutchison, GoEasyCats.com. It seemed like every time you guys were about to get back in it, Kennedy Todd Williams hit a big shot to extend the lead. What made her so difficult to guard today?
I think they were all difficult to guard today. Kennedy handed it to us. Deja Kelly, Alyssa killed us. We couldn't guard them. And those were the big 3 we had to guard. And I think that on the scouting report, you have to know who a short closeout is, who a full closeout is, and we didn't. We had a tough time recognizing things. And I think I really felt like coming into this game that we would have more of a sense of urgency overall. And so maybe that's my fault if we didn't, because we have some experience from last year in a much more pressure situation, and we've been here. So I think that's the disappointing thing for me, is not able to convert and lock in, and the mental mistakes, not the I could live with we shot 28%. but then we need to get turnovers. So we weren't able to get stops, turn them over, or manufacture points that we usually have. And then the mental part of locking in, being able to execute certain things. I think that's the tough part as a coach, because you kind of sit there like, okay. But so that was a little bit frustrating, and we're going to get better, because the bottom line is we have a lot of good freshmen coming in, and we're going to be better at the small things that I don't feel like we're good at right now.
Asher Bookman with the Daily Wildcat. You've been with Sam for 6 years. Can you speak on how she was when she came in, and how she's grown into the player and person that she's become, and just
Absolutely.
the legacy that she leaves?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things I was really sad about. That's why I called that timeout 3 seconds, because I was going to get her standing ovation, because she deserves that. Incredible kid, incredible person, incredible young woman. She came to Arizona, this introverted, shy, kid that played the 4. And then that wasn't heavily recruited, and she left this monster defensive player, stellar academic, stellar academically, just a role model in every sense of the word. Like a role model, that's what it is. That's what a student athlete is. It is Sam. She gave so much to this program. But as a coach, I think what the special things are, not only her graduating and getting her master's degree, but for her to be able to do everything with such high class and character and represent our school so well, in front of Congress, and things that she wouldn't have been able to do her freshman year. So she grew in the program. She worked hard. She was extremely coachable. She was a leader. Since her freshman year, she was a team captain. So there isn't anything she hasn't done at the best of her ability, and she's always represented us, the program, me, the university, in the best manner possible. And every team would love to have a team full of Sams. Every coach would love to have a team full of Sams, and I wish I could clone her. I always say, and keep her forever. And she would have stayed 2 more years if she could, because she's not ready to go out in the real world. But she's just like the perfect player. And I hope to find another player like her one day. But I think they're rare. I think a player like her will come along every 10 years.
PJ, and then we'll go with Greg.
Hi, Dan. It's PJ. So, we've talked a lot about the fan base and how they come out and really cheer for you. But tonight they were...
Didn't have a lot to cheer for. I recognize that. Sorry.
At times when you started trying to make a comeback, there were various times, and they got loud, really loud. It sounded almost like, 5,000 more than were really there. How did that help you today?
I mean, at Arizona, the fan base is one of the best fans in the country, or some of the best fans in the country. To be able to have, I think there's probably 10,000 fans here. I'm a little bit embarrassed and disappointed how we performed when they're coming out here and supporting us. We played hard, but I didn't feel like we played hard enough for them. And that's usually not something I question ever. And I haven't questioned a lot of things since my first year here that I did today. So disappointed in how we performed with everybody here. They were trying to find something to cheer about, and they got loud a few times they were trying to get us to come back. And usually that's when we make our run, and that's why home court advantage is so important. But we were never able to turn the corner. And we were never able to bear down and get those stops. And that's not us, and that's usually what we can do. So, just disappointed overall, to be honest.
Greg?
Greg Hansen, Daily Star. How do you think in a month or two you'll look back and put some perspective onto this?
I think that no one even probably thought we'd probably even make the tournament, or probably thought we'd lose in the first round. But I know what we were capable of doing. I know there was a point in the season in February where I thought, and I knew, and I said this, we were a better team by far than we were last year. We were clicking. We were joint together. We were playing for each other. And then, I felt like we had a couple losses, and it was because I remember one point in the season we lost 3 games, and I was like, it feels like we lost 10. It really did. That felt really heavy at the moment. So I think that we were just too high and too low sometimes. And then we had some injuries, then we had COVID, and those are all excuses, but we just didn't click the same. So I didn't have that feeling going into the tournament, to be honest. I didn't have that feeling at the Pac-12 tournament. So I think in a month or two, I'm going to realize that there were certain things, probably earlier, that could have been different, and that just weren't. And I thought our maturity and our leadership and our experience would carry us a little bit further. and it just never did. So as a coach, you obviously look at a mirror, you always evaluate yourself for strengths and weaknesses, but there were certain things that I just had to probably handle better throughout the year that I didn't. And I think it really, those things were exposed in the last part of the season, because you saw we just kind of started to play like that. And that's the reality. And it is what it is, but that's not going to happen again, because we're not going to have a team where that can happen. So, yeah.
Ryan?
Adia, what happened on that tech with Lauren Ware?
So I thought that was an interesting tech. I'm not going to say anything else about that because the officials are really good. I thought actually the officials did do a good job. I thought that tech was interesting because she did yell at her, and I think the rule is, and especially in the NCAA tournament, I get it, everybody's watching, you have to do it. But she just kind of yelled and taunted her, which Lauren should not have done. But, we were searching for things to get happy about, so she got extra happy. But, that's not even anything to do with the game.
Right, but at that point, it's a 10-point game. The momentum seemed to be going a little bit more your way.
Yeah, but I think there's so many things that happen, that's not even a factor. It was bad, but obviously, and the thing is, Lauren's never done that. She's been here 2 years. She's never got technical. I don't think any of us have. So I think it was just she was pumped, and everything's a little bit tighter these games. So.
Back row.
I want to ask you a little more about that tech, because there were some people talking that they thought that gets called in a women's game more often than a men's game. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. I absolutely do. I think there's there's a list. I think I think male coaches can coach extremely different, and then women do. And I think that kind of stuff. But also, I don't know, because maybe in the NCAA tournament, when all eyes are on that, I think they also have to be really stringent with the rules. And I get that too. So those are good officials that are at this level. So I think that in an NCAA tournament game, I think that's not going to be as allowed as much. But I think just generally speaking, we all know, guys punch each other. And, so it's just different. I think it's just different. But also it's a different game, so I don't like to compare head-to-head because our sport's so different. It's played different. It's different emotion. I just think it's different, but probably, yeah.
We'll move to one question we have on our virtual. Lindsay Schnell. Lindsay.
Hi, Adia. Congrats on a great season. You brought up, the fans, they love you, they cheer for you, and you pack the house a lot. Do you think we're at the point in the women's tournament across the country where we could pack houses that aren't on home courts?
No.
What if we went to all neutral floors?
Absolutely not. I think that's a terrible idea for our game. I don't agree with that at all. I was asked that question about a week ago, and I think on the list of 100 things to change, to me, that's 100th. I think there's so many things to change before that with equity and stuff that's not even a consideration for me, or not even on the list. I think that it's more valuable in our game, because it's different. I think it's more valuable to play in McHale with 10,000 people than it is to go to San Antonio to a neutral site with 1,500 people. I think that makes no sense. I think it doesn't generate any income, and I don't think it's smart for our game at where we're at right now. I think if you look at Iowa, they had 14,000. South Carolina had 10 or 9, 5 or whatever. We had 9,500 and probably 10,000 today, and I think that's better. That's better for our game, and no player wants to play in front of 1,500 people. So absolutely not. I think that's an awful idea.
We have time for one more question. Back row.
Rich Rare, Wildcats Radio 1290. Adia, can you talk about the state of your program? The folks from Carolina were so complimentary of everything here at McHale, the way this tournament was run, the class, the dignity, the fans. Talk about where the program is when you took over, where you are today, and what's the next big step for you?
So obviously, you get a job because usually there's something going on or there's no success. That's how we all get jobs. So I think that the job was to rebuild the program. And so I think we took the right steps. I think if I look back 3 years ago, the best thing that happened to this program was the NIT, or the WNIT. Playing in the WNIT with the one and done experience, selling out McHale, and momentum every game and getting more fans was so valuable. Going to the tournament that you're losing in the first round would not have really helped us, but the WNIT helped us tremendously. And then we had momentum going into the COVID year, which we would have gone to the tournament as a high seed. And then last year going to the final game. So a tremendous amount of support. Happy this year because last year we didn't experience what it was like to play in front of fans. And so it didn't feel like the real experience of the NCAA tournament. So, this program, we're a good program here now. We're nationally respected. We're getting high-level recruits. I mean, we have 2 McDonald's All-Americans coming in next year, 2 Gatorade Players of the Year. We'll add some other people to our roster and make some changes in the roster. So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited to start with a new young group. We add some veterans here and there, and I want them to play in front of a packed house. And I think after all of the COVID stuff, kind of goes away a little bit more, in the next year, I think we're gonna have a lot more fans. So players want to play in arenas like this, and they only have probably 10 choices around the country to have this opportunity to play in front of packed houses. And we're in Tucson. We're a basketball town. We're a town that loves men's and women's basketball. So they have the opportunity to do that here. And so it's special. And if you see, Sam could run for mayor. I mean, Sam, they have probably more T-shirts by Sam than anybody else. But they love her. They've embraced her. And I think the different thing about the women's game and the men's game is that, like, the women stay for 4 years typically. Now with the portal, it's a little different. But women typically stay for 4 years at a school. So the fans get to watch the growth and get to know people. And I think that's really, really valuable. And that makes our game special. And so people now, next year, they're going to see Kate for 5 years. And so I think, that's what we like. You want to have that connection. And that's what makes our game different. That's what makes the WNBA different than the NBA. And, this place just loves Sam and loves our team. And the win or loss, we didn't play well. I'm disappointed. They're disappointed. But we're going to come back better and stronger. And I think that we still have won the hearts of Tucson and a lot of people across the country. And I feel good about that.
On that note, we'll let you go, Coach.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
you guys.
congratulations on the year.
Thank you.